In the special audio series from the QP Diaries, hosted by Dal Pawar, we're exploring what happens when quality is in crisis and how qualified persons, or QPs, lead the vital remediation projects that follow. This deep dive isn't just a summary, it curates the most impactful highlights from Dow's extensive, candid conversations with leading QPs from across the industry. We've meticulously gathered their hard-won stories, distilled their expertise, and extracted their most practical, actionable advice on navigating the tumultuous, often unforgiving waters of quality remediation. Our promise to you: a direct shortcut to understanding how these expert QPs don't just fix problems, but profoundly transform crisis into a strategic opportunity, offering surprising insights and battle-tested strategies that you can apply, whether you're a seasoned professional or simply curious about what it takes to rebuild trust from the ground up.
Okay, let's truly unpack this. When a company finds itself, in the throes of a quality crisis, what does that actually look like on the ground? Is it always this sudden sort of catastrophic event? Or maybe something more insidious? And crucially, how do QPs, these really highly specialized professionals, they've got this unique blend of technical skill and, let's be honest, often unsung leadership. How do they step in? Not just to patch things up, right?
Yeah.
To fundamentally rebuild trust, restore compliance, and, well, ultimately transform an entire quality culture.
Yeah, it's a huge task.
It really is. It sounds like a fascinating high-stakes area. It must demand deep technical knowledge, incredible composure under pressure, and I imagine a rare ability to actually inspire change.
Absolutely.
So our mission in this deep dive is really to extract the critical, actionable nuggets of knowledge from Dow's powerful conversations. He spoke with QPs like Robin Railton, Uche Ekwuozor, and Kevin Curry.
Some real leaders in the field.
Definitely. We'll be focusing on the maybe often subtle triggers of remediation, the nuanced art of leadership when the spotlight is, blindingly hot, and the profound long-term effort it takes to genuinely rebuild a resilient quality culture.
Yeah.
Essentially, we're talking about turning a massive ship around in the middle of a perfect storm, right? And these QPs are often the ones at the helm, somehow navigating these treacherous waters.
That's precisely it. And, from a QP's perspective, remediation, it's rarely about fixing just one single isolated thing.
Okay.
Instead, it's almost always a direct response to significant, deeply embedded systemic quality system failures. Think of it maybe as the cumulative effect of 1,000 small cuts.
Right, not one big blow.
Exactly. It's when those seemingly minor, often ignored issues, or, those persistent amber lights on the dashboard have just compounded, they've festered, and finally they've sort of metastasized into a much larger, more critical situation.
The red flag moment.
That's it, the red flag event that demands immediate, comprehensive, and frankly often very costly action. It's the painful consequence of fundamental breakdowns. Could be processes, people, maybe management commitment. Things that inevitably put product quality and, most critically, patient safety at grave risk.
That makes perfect sense. So you're saying it's rarely a sudden explosion, but more like a slow kind of creeping erosion of standards.
Yeah, almost always.
What are those common alarm bells then? Those amber lights, as you put it. The things that signal a company isn't just heading into a crisis, but might already be, knee-deep in one, maybe without even fully realizing how bad it is.
Well, it is almost always that slow burn that culminates in a full-blown crisis, yes. Dell thoughtfully discussed this with Uche Ekwuozor, and Uche pointed out that quality can become neglected precisely when companies are, in his words, so determined to make those products and get it out the door.
Commercial pressure overriding quality.
Often, yeah. It's not usually malicious intent. It's more often that overwhelming commercial pressure just inadvertently overrides or sidelines that critical focus on quality.
Right.
And Uche used this really vivid analogy of amber lights on a car dashboard. Yeah, it paints a picture, doesn't it?
Oh.
These are those initial subtle warning signals. Maybe it's a recurring minor deviation that never quite gets properly closed out, or an overdue CAPA, a corrective and preventative action that keeps getting deferred.
Pushback.
Exactly. Or even just persistent understaffing in a critical department. And unfortunately and dangerously, these warnings are often ignored.
It's fine. We'll get to it later.
Precisely. Imagine your own car, right? Warning after warning lights up, but you just keep driving, telling yourself, it's fine, I'll sort it later. Each flicker of that amber light is actually a missed opportunity, a chance for a relatively easy early correction, a proactive intervention. Eventually, all these ignored amber lights, they converge, and inevitably they lead to that red flag situation. That's the crisis point.
And suddenly it's much bigger.
astronomically bigger. At this stage, the fixes are so much more costly, they demand far more time, they consume significantly more resources than if those initial warnings had just been heeded. It's a classic, painful example of being penny-wise and pound-foolish, really. Yeah.
Where short-term commercial gains, or maybe perceived gains, are prioritized at the immense expense of long-term sustainability, regulatory compliance, and ultimately patient cost.
And Kevin Curry, another one of Dal's guests, he touched on this too, didn't he? About the culture.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin echoed this sentiment. He observed that remediation often becomes incredibly tiring and, tragically, sometimes even unsuccessful. Not because the quality team isn't trying hard enough.
Right. Not for lack of effort.
No. Instead, he pointed to an underlying, deeply ingrained quality culture that just hasn't supported proactive resolution. This culture, it either fails to even recognize those amber lights or, even worse, it implicitly encourages people to disregard them in favor of speed or hitting commercial targets.
So if those internal amber lights are flashing, maybe being ignored, what happens when an external force steps in? Say the regulators like the MHRA or FDA. What does that really mean for a company? Is it an immediate shutdown or more like a forceful call to action? Well, when regulators like the MHRA, that's the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency in the UK,
Right.
or the US FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, when they step in with findings, especially what they call issues of significance, it's definitely no longer just an internal problem. It is
Okay.
almost always a non-negotiable demand for change. It forces a company directly into a state of intense remediation. Robin Railton, whose insights Dow shared are just invaluable,
Mhm.
he highlights a critical point. Regulators are doing such an important job. Fundamentally, they're protecting patients and public health. So when they find these issues of significance, it indicates a serious fundamental breach of GMP good manufacturing practice or other critical regulations. It demands immediate, structured, and often very public action.
So it becomes very visible, very quickly.
Extremely visible. And Robin's own career path, it really illustrates this.
Hmm.
He often contracts specifically to areas with, quote, issues with regulators where compliance standards are not what they should be. His role as a site remediation leader is a direct response to these regulatory interventions. The regulator's presence just elevates the stakes dramatically. It transforms what might have been internally downplayed problems into externally validated, undeniable, critical deficiencies.
No more sweeping it under the rug.
Absolutely not. This external pressure forces leadership to confront realities they may have previously ignored or minimized, and it demands complete transparency. The immediate impact is usually severe. Operations can be halted or severely restricted. Crucial product release might be suspended. And the company faces intense scrutiny, potentially substantial fines, and often devastating reputational damage. It's the starkest possible wake-up call that those amber lights have indeed turned into a full-blown, undeniable emergency.
That paints a very clear, if daunting, picture. But given the sheer complexity, the high stakes,
Yeah.
and how does a QP even begin to tackle such a monumental task? What unique skills or perspective do they bring? Is it just knowing the regulations inside out, or is there something more?
It's definitely not just about technical expertise, although, that's foundational. The QP status itself is, as someone put it, absolutely precious in remediation. Why? Because it signifies a holistic, integrated understanding that goes way beyond mere compliance checklists.
Okay.
Robin Railton really emphasizes this point. The QP role inherently requires a practical, living understanding of the entire operational ecosystem.
The whole picture.
Exactly. That means comprehending the product itself, its formulation, how it behaves, the facility, its design, its limits, the people, their capabilities, their training, their challenges, the processes, how they interact, where they break down, and the systems, the documentation, the data flow, the whole quality management system. It's not just theoretical, it's a deep, practical grasp of how every single piece interacts.
Yeah.
A QP needs to be, in Robin's words, very clear in terms of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and why. This clarity, which is profoundly grounded in that comprehensive, real-world grasp of operations, it's directly transferable to diagnosing and resolving the myriad technical and compliance challenges that remediation throws up. They don't just spot symptoms. They understand the root causes within the full context. That's vital for lasting solutions.
Right. And Uche Kosor, he added another layer to that, didn't he? About experience from different environments.
He did. Uche clarified this unique vantage point really well. He noted that while QPs and, say, huge, highly specialized pharma companies might not always be hands-on with every tiny detail because of the sheer scale,
Sure.
the underpinning knowledge and experience they gain from operating within those high-standard, often highly resourced environments is absolutely invaluable. This robust foundation allows them to hold people accountable effectively. Why? Because they understand what good really looks like, and they know what standards are non-negotiable.
Makes sense.
For Uche, choosing the consultant path was actually a deliberate, strategic move. It allowed him to engage with a much broader range of organizations, deal with incredibly diverse people, unique crisis situations, often going beyond typical batch release work.
So more variety, more challenges.
Precisely. This continuous exposure to different challenges, often with fewer resources than you might find in big pharma, perfectly prepared him for the demanding, sometimes chaotic, roles in remediation. It's this exceptional blend,
Mm.
profound theoretical knowledge, hard-won practical insight, and an unwavering knack for accountability. That's what makes QPs uniquely equipped to lead effectively through these periods of intense crisis.
That's a powerful insight, that blend of the theoretical, the practical, and the human element. So once a crisis truly hits, it's clearly not just about fixing broken processes or overdue CAPAs anymore. It's about fixing the very heart of how a company views and values quality. How do QPs champion this, well, profound cultural shift, moving from maybe a blame culture or one of quiet neglect towards one of genuine ingrained quality?
Yeah, and the QPs Dal spoke with are absolutely unanimous on this. It's a critical point. Genuine quality culture must start at the very top.
Leadership buy-in.
Absolutely non-negotiable.
Mhm.
As Kevin Curry noted, with real conviction, the company won't change unless the senior management is on board. And that's not just a platitude, a feel-good statement. It's fundamental.
Right.
Senior leadership must not only vocally endorse quality initiatives, but they have to actively participate, demonstrate unwavering commitment through tangible actions, allocate necessary resources, not just pay lip service. It's about getting everyone, especially non-quality people across the organization, finance, marketing, production, to truly understand the why.
Why quality matters beyond compliance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Why is quality not just a regulatory burden or a cost center, but actually a profound strategic asset? Because quality, done right, ensures organizational agility. It saves monumental sums of money in the long run by preventing those costly remediations, avoiding fines, safeguarding reputation, and crucially, it allows for sustained growth and innovation because resources aren't constantly being diverted to crisis management. If leadership views quality as just an obstacle or a drag on commercial targets, that detrimental mindset will inevitably permeate and poison the entire organization. Leads directly back to those ignored amber lights we talked about.
Yeah, it all connects. And Uche Ekwuazor had a really interesting take on the human side of this, didn't he?
He did. His philosophy really encapsulates the human challenge here. Nobody comes to work to be bad at what they do.
That's powerful.
Isn't it? It suggests that when quality culture is neglected, it's almost always because the organizational focus has shifted solely, maybe obsessively, onto commercial targets. Pushing products out, hitting sales numbers, sometimes at the grave expense of maintaining rigorous standards.
So remediation forces that inward look.
Painful, but necessary. The QP becomes a sort of organizational detective. They need to meticulously uncover and shine a light on those multiple steps where we've had a chance to maybe lean it back, those missed opportunities where a small problem could have been nipped in the bud.
Right.
This means asking tough, fundamental questions. Was the organizational structure itself inhibiting swift quality decisions? Were people neglected in terms of training or resources? Why were recurring warnings dismissed? It's about recognizing that problems aren't just isolated incidents. They're symptoms of deeper systemic issues that demand a complete, honest recalibration of how the company operates, from the C-suite right down to the factory floor.
And Robin Railton talked about this idea of an unhealthy norm.
Yes. A truly dangerous concept.
Yeah.
This is where problems, deviations, even non-compliance become so commonplace, so normalized within the daily routine that they're no longer actively challenged. They're not even really perceived as issues anymore.
Just the way things are done.
Exactly. And this normalization facilitates and allows further deterioration, creating a downward spiral. The QP's crucial, often very courageous role is stop that really quickly, however. By deeply understanding what's happening, uncovering the underlying mechanisms, and critically figuring out why these issues weren't stopped earlier.
Needs courage to challenge that.
Immense courage. It requires an unwavering willingness to challenge established practices, to speak truth to power, and to make those invisible systemic problems undeniably visible to everyone, especially those at the top. That's what ignites the cultural shift needed for genuine, lasting change.
That notion of an unhealthy norm is unsettling, but yeah, so relatable. So with all this pressure, this deep dive into systemic issues, the need for a radical cultural shift, how do these QPs actually lead their teams through it? What are the practical day-to-day approaches they take? Not just managing the crisis, but truly inspiring confidence and rebuilding trust when everything feels like it's falling apart.
Well, it really seems to come down to two pivotal pillars:
Yeah.
profound immersion and relentlessly effective communication. Robin Railton, when he's acting as a QP or remediation lead, stresses that his primary aim is to immerse myself in the operations.
Get hands-on.
Absolutely. He openly admits he dislikes working from home in these critical roles because, as he puts it, being present facilitates better cooperation, better communication, better decision-making. You simply cannot grasp the nuanced intricacies of a problem or sense the true morale of a team from a distance.
Makes sense.
Being physically present allows for those invaluable informal conversations, for observing processes firsthand, for picking up on the subtle, often unspoken cues that indicate deeper issues. It builds an undeniable sense of shared experience, commitment, empathy, which is crucial when people are under immense stress.
And Kevin Curry had his own approach.
Yeah.
Management by walking the floor.
Yeah, that's what he affectionately calls it. And it's not about managerial oversight or, policing. It's about genuinely going out, talking to people at every level, understanding what's important to them personally and professionally, building authentic personal relationships. He shared a wonderful little story about building rapport with a team member who was a devoted Rotherham United football fan.
Finding common ground.
Exactly. By simply taking an interest, discussing football, Kevin demonstrated a basic human connection. This seemingly small act can lead to vastly better collaboration and trust. When people feel seen, valued, understood, they're far more likely to approach you for help, share critical issues they might otherwise hide, and genuinely buy into the solutions being proposed. It skillfully dismantles that typical policeman perception of QA.
And replaces it with partnership.
Precisely. A trusted partner, a supportive leader, and empowering the team is also absolutely central to their leadership philosophy. Dow discovered this from his talks with Kevin Curry. Successful QPs don't policeman their departments or retreat into ivory towers. Instead, they strategically empower others. Kevin's anecdotes here are particularly powerful. He recalled a situation with a complex HPLC setup.
Okay, the chromatography system.
Right. High-performance liquid chromatography. Highly precise, foundational in pharma labs for purity, potency. Quite complex, often needs special training. Instead of just taking over, Kevin observed a very keen, very knowledgeable team member who, despite being generally competent, lacked specific expertise in that particular system.
So what did he do?
He didn't just delegate, he empowered this individual, gave him the opportunity and trust to learn and master it. The result: that team member became an expert, a go-to person, completely transformed their engagement and contribution.
Wow, that's real empowerment.
Isn't it? And another profound example: a quiet R&D guy. Kevin offered him a 6-month trial as a supervisor, critically, with 100% support, explicitly saying he'd take responsibility for any mistakes.
That's huge trust.
Huge. And this audacious act completely transformed the individual, turned him into a highly successful senior manager. These stories vividly illustrate that investing in people, even when they lack confidence or specific expertise initially, can unlock incredible potential and build an astonishingly resilient team.
Yeah.
And Uche Ekwazor also highlighted the fundamental importance of adequate staff training and resourcing. He said, if you don't have enough staff, it means that you need to slow it down sometimes and try to do the best you can do, but always have quality first.
So empowerment includes giving them the tools and time.
Exactly. It's not just trust and opportunity, but also ensuring they have the necessary skills and resources to perform to the highest quality standards, even if it means adjusting commercial timelines sometimes.
So, okay, beyond the cultural and interpersonal shifts, there's the concrete, structural work of remediation. the corrective and preventive actions, KP's robust governance. How do KPs ensure these critical mechanisms aren't just, another layer of bureaucratic burden in a company already struggling, but truly effective tools for lasting change?
Yeah, that's where disciplined project management becomes absolutely indispensable. Kevin Curry highlights the critical importance of good project management for any comprehensive quality improvement plan.
Treating remediation like a project.
Essentially, yes. Remediation, at its core, is a large, incredibly complex project. Multiple interconnected strands or work streams, it demands meticulous planning, a profound understanding of how different elements fit together, securing adequate resourcing, both people and money, and, crucially, ensuring consistent, unwavering backing from senior leadership.
Right.
Kevin's background in R&D, where long-term, multifaceted projects are the norm, apparently gave him a formative understanding of these vital disciplines. It allowed him to approach remediation systematically, strategically, rather than just reactively patching holes. It's about building a coherent roadmap to recovery.
And accountability, how does that fit in? You should mention that.
He did, meticulously. Accountability, as Uchi discussed, is about embedding responsibility, not just assigning blame at every single level. When he goes into an organization deep in remediation, his initial approach is, okay, let's look at what has gone wrong, based on what the independent auditor has told you.
Using that external validation.
Exactly. That unflinching inward look, validated externally, is crucial for understanding the true systemic root causes, not just implementing superficial fixes. Uche emphasizes if you keep ignoring it and patching it up, then eventually it's going to come back to haunt you, often with greater severity and cost.
Makes sense.
True accountability means a willingness to invest more upfront time, resources, genuine self-assessment to genuinely correct a mistake. Rather than allowing a quick, cheap fix to perpetuate underlying issues that will inevitably resurface, often worse, damaging reputation and trust even further, it's about being brutally honest with the problem.
And Robin Railton brought in transparency here, too.
He did. The vital element of radical transparency. When faced with difficult situations, and there are plenty in remediation, he advocates for not jumping to conclusions, but actually learning, listening, understanding, and communicating in an open and transparent way.
So admitting uncertainty sometimes.
Absolutely. This open dialogue, even extending to the humility of admitting, look, I'm sorry, at the moment I'm not sure why this situation has arisen, but this is what I propose we do to learn. That builds immense trust, internally and with regulators.
Okay.
It cultivates an environment where people feel safe reporting issues without fear, where they're encouraged to contribute to solutions, knowing transparency and problem solving are valued over blame or concealment. This approach facilitates far more effective CAPA implementation because the underlying issues get thoroughly investigated, collaboratively addressed, and genuinely resolved, not just superficially treated for a temporary fix.
It's clear that crisis sharpens a QP's skills, like a diamond forged under pressure, But their entire career journey, their diverse experiences, must build this extraordinary resilience and adaptability.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that personal and professional evolution. Do they typically start as specialists and then broaden out, or is it the other way around?
It seems overwhelmingly a journey of broadening expertise, often starting from a foundational, maybe quite specific specialty. Dao learned from Uche Equizor, for instance, that Uche began his career focused primarily on tablets and capsules, a very specific dosage form.
Right.
But over his extensive QP journey, his portfolio has expanded dramatically. Now it covers, in his words, pretty much everything, including ATMPs, those advanced therapy medicinal products.
Complex stuff.
Very complex biologics, other biopharmaceutical products. This incredible evolution from a foundational specialty to a broad mastery across diverse dosage forms, manufacturing processes, complex product types. It's actually incredibly common, often driven by exposure to a wide array of organizations and just the dynamic, ever-changing nature of the pharma industry.
And Kevin Curry's path showed that broadening, too.
It did, vividly. His initial 10 years in fine chemicals gave him a strong lab foundation, then 15 years in pharma R&D. This extensive period gave him, as he put it, a deeper understanding of the chemistry of things, and exposed him to vastly different timescales and problem-solving approaches. He described it as formative and important.
So seeing the whole life cycle.
Exactly. This diverse background equipped him with a truly holistic view, moving him beyond just QC, allowing him to understand the entire product journey from initial R&D through commercialization and license maintenance.
And Robin Railton's journey. Similar breadth.
Another prime example, he moved progressively from QC to lab management, then validation, QA, then operational QP, initially focusing on creams, ointments, sterile products.
Okay.
Then his career diversified further into contract manufacturing, including medical devices, even vaccine products. This extensive, varied journey provided him with a profound understanding of the different levels of risk and the unique compliance challenge associated with a vast array of products and processes. This adaptability, this comprehensive understanding, it's precisely what makes QPs so incredibly valuable, especially when called upon for complex remediation.
But Kevin Curry also had a thought about the future, didn't he? About specialization.
Yes, a fascinating forward-looking perspective. He suggested that as medicines continue to evolve, moving significantly towards preventative therapies, complex biologics, those cutting-edge ATMPs, QPs may become more specialized, potentially moving away from the current broad expectation.
Why is that?
The increasing complexity of legislation. He pointed to the tangibly fatter Orange Guide, the comprehensive guide to GMP, as evidence. This complexity might necessitate this shift. So, while QPs currently need immense breadth, the future might see a greater demand for deep, niche expertise in highly specialized areas. Poses interesting challenges for QP training and ongoing development, doesn't it?
It really does. Very thought-provoking. Now, what seems to bind all these QPs together, what runs as a common thread through every story and strategy we've discussed, is the absolute paramount importance of communication. It's clearly not just a soft skill, is it? It feels like the linchpin holding everything together during a crisis.
You've hit on perhaps the most critical, yet often, as Kevin put it, poorly understood and taught by management: competency. Communication is absolutely not just a soft skill. It's a hard skill, a core competency. Kevin Curry strongly believes communication should be part of, I think, the curriculum for QP training.
Yeah, I can see why.
The ability to effectively convey complex technical and regulatory information to vastly diverse audiences, from the shop floor right up to the boardroom, is fundamental to a QP's success, especially in high-stakes crisis situations like remediation.
So how does that play out, managing upwards, for example?
Well, that requires a distinct strategic communication style. Kevin shared that senior managers generally don't want detail.
They're busy. They need the bottom line.
Exactly. Time poor, need clarity, brevity. So QPs must learn to cut it down, present salient points in bite-sized chunks. The key, Kevin advises, is always try to go with a solution, not the problem.
Right. Don't just dump the issue on them.
Precisely. And this is particularly challenging, requires immense assertiveness when delivering bad news from a commercial perspective.
I bet.
It demands clarity, conviction, and a readiness for, well, potentially intense discussion. It means translating complex technical or compliance issues into tangible business language that resonates with leadership, explaining not just what went wrong, but the direct implications: financial health, brand reputation, market position, future viability. Framing quality decisions as strategic business decisions.
All right, that's managing up. What about managing downwards or across the organization?
Different approach needed, but equally critical. Kevin highlights that QA can sometimes be seen as far too overbearing, especially if they adopt that policeman mentality, maybe writing SOPs, standard operating procedures themselves, in isolation.
Without input from the people using them.
Exactly. And that often leads to no buying from the teams who actually have to implement these procedures. Consequently, credibility is lost. Effective collaboration, on the other hand, means actively involving the people who use the SOPs in their creation or revision.
Makes sense. Builds ownership.
Totally. Fosters genuine ownership, ensures practical applicability, fundamentally builds trust. It shifts the perception from a dictatorial policeman to a supportive, collaborative partner. It's about engagement, not dictation.
And Robin Rilton added another dimension: credibility outside QA.
He did, profoundly.
Yeah.
He emphasized that for a QP to be truly good and effective, they need to build professional credibility outside quality assurance. What does that mean? Actively talking to people in the labs, in engineering and manufacturing, and critically listening to them.
Understanding their world.
Precisely. Building this cross-functional credibility allows the QP to gain a truly holistic understanding of operations, empathize with different departmental challenges, and ensures their advice and decisions are respected and heeded across all departments, not just within the quality silo. It's about building a robust network of trust and mutual understanding that transcends traditional boundaries, creating a unified force dedicated to quality.
It sounds like an incredibly demanding role, especially for consultant QPs who are often, parachuted into these crisis situations.
Mm.
What does this relentless pace mean for work-life balance? How do QPs like Uche Ekwuozer manage to switch off and avoid that very real threat of burnout?
Yeah, Uche Ekwuozer gives a remarkably candid, really insightful take on the life of a consultant QP. He completely dispels any romantic notions. He admits it's certainly not the amazing life some might imagine.
Okay.
He's constantly reacting to the client needs. That can mean staying away from home for 5 days a week, routinely working 10-hour days, 11-hour days, sometimes bleeding into weekends,
Wow.
and dealing with urgent demands at a moment's notice, like unexpected regulatory audits that require immediate presence. It's a high-pressure, high-commitment role where a personal life often has to take a backseat.
Sounds exhausting.
It does. The constant travel, the long, unpredictable hours, the inherent nature of crisis management. It can take a significant, relentless toll, physically and mentally. He's effectively always on call, always ready to dive into the next urgent, complex situation, makes establishing and maintaining a consistent personal rhythm incredibly difficult.
So how does he cope? Does he have strategies?
He does.
Yeah.
Despite this profoundly demanding schedule, Uchi has consciously developed very specific discipline strategies for switch off to actively combat burnout. He tries, for instance, to make Saturdays non-negotiable for family and personal time.
Protecting that time.
Absolutely. Whether it's sports, hobbies, or just dedicated time with his kids, that protected time is crucial for mental and emotional recharging. Furthermore, he strategically plans for a decent break of a week within every quarter.
A planned reset.
Exactly. He views it not as a luxury, but as a necessity. During these pre-planned breaks, he makes a conscious effort to get away from it all and just focus solely on myself and my family. He acknowledges candidly that during these periods he's not being paid, but sees it as an indispensable investment in his long-term well-being and in maintaining the high level of performance required.
That takes real discipline.
It does. This proactive, disciplined approach to taking scheduled time off is essential to prevent that corrosive accumulation of stress and ensure he can continue to win his best. It's a powerful testament to the self-awareness required to not just survive, but thrive as a consultant QP.
That really highlights the personal sacrifice alongside the professional demands. Now, when a company is in remediation, the ultimate sort of make or break test is often the regulatory inspection. What's the QP's overarching strategy to ensure success under that intense scrutiny, especially when so much is on the line, reputation, operations, maybe even the company's future?
Well, Robin Railton's core principle for inspection readiness is remarkably straightforward, yet profoundly challenging to implement consistently. Maintain a strong state of control at all times.
Always be ready.
Essentially, yes. This fundamental philosophy means that actual inspection preparation should ideally be minimal. Why? Because the company's operations are consistently, day in, day out, at the highest possible standard of compliance and quality.
Not just ramping up before an inspection.
Exactly. He emphatically calls that peaks and troughs approach, where standards are artificially elevated just for an inspection, only to drop back down afterward, highly unprofessional. This fluctuating standard doesn't just represent a lack of commitment, it introduces significant business risk, compliance risk, and patient risks. It's unsustainable, fundamentally dishonest, dangerous. Reflects a deep-seated lack of true commitment to quality. Instead, a truly inspection-ready company is simply a well-run, compliant company all the time. Quality is woven into its DNA, not just applied as a veneer when someone's looking.
So how do they handle the inspection itself? Transparency.
Transparency and meticulous preparation are absolutely key. Robin advises going into inspections with openness, transparency. He reiterates powerfully that regulators are doing such an important job they are protecting the patients. Adopting this mindset fosters a collaborative rather than adversarial atmosphere. That's crucial.
And practical steps.
Meticulously preparing subject matter experts, SMEs, to engage professionally, confidently, ensuring all data packages are readily available, thoroughly reviewed, accurate, making certain the physical plant readiness is impeccable. As an experienced auditor himself, Robin knows with absolute certainty that trying to hide something is inappropriate and would be unsuccessful anyway with a good inspector.
They can tell.
He observes with keen insight that people's body language changes, the language that they use changes, how they present data and documentation changes when something is being concealed. Makes it glaringly evident to a seasoned inspector. So, honesty, proactive preparation, a consistently robust quality system. They aren't just the best strategies for success under scrutiny, they're the only truly viable strategies for long-term survival and trust.
Oh, that takes immense personal courage, though. Conviction.
Yeah.
Especially when you might be challenging deeply ingrained practices or delivering difficult news nobody wants to hear.
Yeah.
How do QPs cultivate that essential assertiveness, that ability to stand firm, even with significant pushback?
Kevin Curry reflected on this pivotal moment. He noted that after qualifying as a QP, suddenly you can be in the spotlight, and people look straight to you to make decisions, the right decision.
Huge pressure from day one.
Immediate, often overwhelming expectation that you have all the answers. But Kevin learned a crucial lesson early on. It's perfectly okay to not know what the answer is.
Humility helps assertiveness.
In a way, yes. This blend of humility admitting uncertainty coupled with the unwavering confidence to seek out information, consult experts, lean on your professional network, that's crucial. Assertiveness in this context isn't about having a definitive answer for everything. It's about confidently navigating profound uncertainty and consistently making sound, ethical judgments based on the best available information, leading with integrity, even when the path isn't perfectly clear.
And Robin Wilton mentioned risk-based decision-making here.
Yes, he believes astute risk-based decision-making is absolutely fundamental for a QP. This isn't about being cavalier, recklessly releasing inappropriate products, nor is it about being overly risk-averse, unnecessarily rejecting perfectly suitable material. It's about walking that path, finding that narrow, crucial line between overcaution and undue risk. That path is inherently difficult, demanding a nuanced understanding, potential harm versus commercial necessity.
So how do they find that path?
By immersing yourself in the operations, as Robin puts it, a QP gains the deep contextual understanding needed to make truly educated decisions. This immersion provides the foundation for confident, risk-based choices. Because the QP has seen the process, knows the people, understands the data comprehensively, it's knowledge built from the ground up that fuels their conviction.
And ultimately accepting the tough calls.
Absolutely. It comes down to accepting the toughest decisions. Robin acknowledges with unwavering honesty that inevitably as a QP at times you have to say that batch is not suitable for release.
The decision everyone dreads.
Exactly. It can have significant commercial ramifications, but it must be made for the right reasons: patient safety, regulatory compliance, and crucially, with the ability to explain that this is the reason that material of that batch was rejected. The assertiveness isn't about being confrontational or authoritarian. It's about an unwavering commitment to patience and compliance, backed by understanding, data, and crystal clear communication. It's the conviction to make the difficult call and the vital ability to articulate precisely why that call was not just necessary, but the only responsible one.
As we wrap up this incredibly insightful deep dive, it's abundantly clear the QP role is exceptionally challenging. It demands this unique, ever-evolving blend of deep technical mastery, astute leadership, profound emotional intelligence. But despite all the pressures, it also sounds profoundly rewarding. What for you is the biggest, most enduring takeaway from these candid conversations Dal had with Robin Railton, Uche Ekwazor, and Kevin Curry?
What truly stands out to me above everything else is the deep, palpable personal satisfaction and sense of purpose these QPs derive from their incredibly demanding work. They talk about their roles in terms that really transcend a mere profession. They unanimously find their roles life-changing, as Uche so powerfully described it,
Yeah.
and fabulous in Kevin's enthusiastic words. It's far more than just a job for them. For many, it seems unequivocally like a calling.
You can hear the passion.
You really can. Robin Railton's passion shines through when he talks about his fundamental love for factories and his intrinsic drive for making things better. He sees this real, almost poetic parallel between meticulously optimized factory operations and perfectly running biological systems when they run really, really well.
That's a great analogy.
Isn't it? A harmonious affaint system producing something vital. His deepest joy comes from optimizing these complex systems, diagnosing inefficiencies, seeing tangible improvements directly translate into safer, more effective products. It's a profound appreciation for the practical application of quality in a dynamic, real-world environment.
And Uchi's motivation. Inspiring others.
Yes, his motivation to empower and inspire the next generation, especially from underrepresented groups, reflects the profound personal impact and broader societal purpose he derives from the role. He views his own journey as truly life-changing, enabling him not only to succeed professionally, but also to mentor and support others, expanding his impact far beyond initial expectations. It goes beyond technical excellence to a deep-seated desire for broader societal impact, ensuring the critical field of quality benefits from diverse perspectives, that opportunities are accessible.
That's fantastic.
And Kevin Curry's poignant advice to his younger self, just do it because it's been fabulous, absolutely fabulous, really encapsulates that enduring positive sentiment, despite the immense pressures. Despite the challenges, the sleepless nights, the tough decisions, the QPs we've heard from all express this deep, abiding sense of pride and profound fulfillment. They embody the principle that working in quality, particularly as a QP, offers a career path of continuous learning, significant responsibility, and an immense unmatched satisfaction in directly contributing to patient safety and public health. They are, in so many ways, the unsung heroes ensuring that when products reach patients, they are safe and effective.
What an incredible deep dive into the world of QPs and quality remediation. The insights gleaned from Dow's conversations with Robin Railton, Uche Ekwazor, and Kevin Curry truly underscore the immense grit, the unparalleled expertise, and the unwavering dedication it takes for these qualified persons to lead effectively during quality crises. It is, as we've heard, a role demanding both deep technical knowledge and truly exceptional human skills.
Absolutely.
So for QPs and QA leaders navigating the often turbulent waters of remediation, we can probably distill 3 absolutely critical takeaways from these rich conversations.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, immerse and be transparent. Effective remediation demands QPs be physically present, deeply immersed in operations, not just observing from afar, to truly understand those subtle underlying issues. Robin Railton's insistence on being on the factory floor really highlights this.
Being present.
Right. This immersion, coupled with radical transparency with internal teams, fostering psychological safety, and with external regulators, builds critical trust and dramatically accelerates problem solving. As Robin emphasized, trying to hide things. Futile, unprofessional, counterproductive. Openness and honesty are key.
Absolutely fundamental. Okay, number 2.
Second, empower and cultivate culture from within. Quality culture is the bedrock, and unequivocally starts with consistent, visible senior leadership buy-in, as Kevin Curry forcefully noted. QPs should strategically shift from being seen as policemen to becoming genuine enablers.
Right, the empowering leader.
Exactly. By trusting team members, providing unwavering support, allowing them to take genuine ownership, even where they initially lack specific expertise, like Kevin's HPLC and R&D example showed, you turn potential liabilities into invaluable experts. It's fostering an environment where people want to do well because, as Uche wisely pointed out, nobody comes to work to be bad at what they do. Usually it's the system.
Such a key insight. And the third.
Third, master strategic communication. Often undervalued, but essential. QPs must meticulously adapt their communication for vastly different audiences. For senior management, as Kevin advised, concise, solution-oriented information in bite-sized chunks, not overwhelming technical detail.
Seek their language.
Precisely. This crucial skill, often not formally taught, is vital for gaining buy-in, delivering difficult news effectively, and driving systemic change. Translating complex technical challenges into clear business imperatives.
Makes perfect sense. Immerse and be transparent. Empower and cultivate culture. Master strategic communication. Powerful takeaways.
Definitely. That's a tremendous amount to ponder, and truly powerful, actionable advice for anyone navigating the intricate world of quality, or really anyone shaping the future of any complex organization. This series is brought to you by AssureBio, a specialist recruitment and talent partner for quality professionals across the UK, EU, and US. To learn more, visit AssureBio.com.
So a final thought, perhaps.
Yeah. In a world of increasing complexity, relentless innovation, and ever-intensifying regulatory scrutiny, how prepared are you to not just weather the next quality storm, but to emerge from it stronger, with a truly resilient, deeply embedded quality culture that actually stands the test of time?